So this is part 4 of knitting a sock, and you'll see that I have finished my twisted rib. That's as high as I want my rib. And if you compare it to other ribs you've knitted, you can see how neat this twisted rib is and super stretchy. I've got my long tail cast on, and now I've got my little floop here to mark my beginning of round, and I've actually just started knitting a plain round. So when you're ready to carry on with your sock, you stop your twisted rib and all you do is knit. I'm going to just knit a little bit to show you how simple it is on these needles. I was just knitting them now at the beach. I dropped my son for his life-saving duty and we were having breakfast. So I take my socks with me everywhere because I literally can just chuck this little thing with my ball of yarn into my handbag. Let's see that there. And she said to me, this lady leans over and she says, "I'm fascinated. What are you knitting?" I said, "I'm knitting socks." She goes, "On such tiny needles. I've never seen these tiny needles before." And I know I've had customers who've gone to other shops and asked for these needles, and they've been told that no such thing exists. Well, it does. I've been using them for a few years now. They literally are the best thing. They are so easy to use. I'm not into knitting 2 socks at a time because I just think sock knitting is a joy, and 2 socks at a time you're continuously pulling that stupid long cable. I just don't get it. And so what if I never knit a second sock the same? I can have all mismatched socks. I'd rather do it slowly like this than 2 at a time, and I'd rather do it like this than with 5 different DPMs. So now you'll see I've got to my little beginning of round stitch marker, and for those beginners who've never used stitch markers, all they're doing is marking where my round is, where my start is, and all I'm going to do is just slip it onto my other needle and carry on. I'll knit another round and then I'll show you how it will look. And you can see now with these stripes, it's quite fun because this, obviously this row before was a speckle row, and now I'm doing the copper color stripe row. So once I've knitted a whole lot, you'll be able to see the stripes come out. In fact, with the rib, you can actually see it already. You can see copper row, variegated speckle, copper speckle. But when you knit the plain, it's even more noticeable because it doesn't have the rib interfering with it. So you can see how these needles are just the absolute perfect size. I've got 64 stitches on. If you wanted to do a bigger for like a man size, you'd probably do 72 stitches. So the normal size, like an average size, is 64, and then you get 68, 72. So it goes up in 4s, so divisible by 4. If you've got really tiny little feet, it's not so much the length, it's like the widest part of your foot, if you like, because to get your foot in there. You can also do a 60 instead of a 64. So I am sitting on my deck. It's a Sunday morning and I'm just chilling. These are perfect if you go out with friends and you don't want to think, because you're literally knitting round and round. You don't have to remember which cable you're pulling or which sock you're knitting. It's literally round and round. Standing in a queue, waiting at the doctor, sitting in the car, watching sports, watching TV. My hands are never ever idle. Okay, now you can see I've started my speckly yarn. It's very clever how they dye these up to just be perfect. Slip my stitch mark again and I carry on knitting. So you're basically going to knit this until you get to the heel and I'll explain in my next video, which will be part 5, how you work out where your heel is and how you put the heel. I think we're going to do an afterthought heel because it's just simpler for beginners. I'll show you how to do that in the next video, but obviously I've got some knitting to do before then, so possibly won't follow on Tuesday. Might take me a couple of days, but there you go. You can see where my ribbers ended. Oops. And now I'm just knitting plain. So some people have got confused and they've been knitting like this, and then they go, but why is my sock bumpy? That's the inside, that's the wrong side. So all they have to do is just knit like on the outside, if that makes sense. So they've gotten very confused about why their sock doesn't look like mine, but that's all it is if they're on that side. So they're still knitting and not purling, but they're knitting it flipped reverse in. So that's what the outside looks like. So there you go. Just keep knitting round and round. Just keep going. And I'll check back with you when I have enough knitting to have a heel. Okay, bye.